Some people think that they need to know everything before they qualify for something, but the OGs know that you only need to master the basics. The basics are what you always fall back to, they never change, and no one is ever too good for the basics. And of course, if you're in academia, the pursuit of knowledge is really a means to an end. But if you're not, you don't need another video lesson or self-help book. If you have the basics, you have a solid foundation. The same way you can always change your house decor, but the foundation will always remain the same. It doesn't matter how far ahead you get, when all else fails, you fall back to the basics. And this mindset does not only apply to your career outlook, but also to your personal relationships. For example, the consensus is that you need to be optimally healed before you date, which is fair. But you'll find that being optimally healed is the complexity, whereas the basics are what people predominantly ask for in relationships. For example, communication, honesty, intimacy, quality time, etc. And so when your trauma finally announces itself in your relationship, making things complex, the OGs will always fall back to the basics. For example, they will communicate. It's like how solving a complex math equation is great, but at best, you only need the basics. Math never changes. You don't need to get all your ducks in a row to start. You need the basics plus action, which will equate to clarity. And in any case, only a few people care enough to master complexity. Your job is to build your own sweet spot by pairing your knowledge with your own unique insights, proactiveness, and also building your unique value proposition. How do you do this? Through curiosity, conviction, and believing in your own insights. For example, new businesses who are entering a saturated market are always advised to conduct a competitor analysis and make note of any differentiation opportunities that their competitors might have missed. And of course, they then use that information to develop an attractive, unique value proposition that helps them stand out. Once you have the basics, your job is to become aggressively curious about the existing gaps in your space and then position yourself to solve those gaps. Pair this with your unique insight and you might just land on what propels your position forward. With enough focus, you will eventually evolve yourself into a differentiated competitor. And lastly, I think people tend to underestimate that having limited knowledge is more of an advantage than a disadvantage. In that position, your outlook is still untainted, making you an open-minded person who's not boxed into working systems. This is the best position to come up with ideas that people who are above you have already missed. Remember, no one is too good for the basics. The basics are what people on top mastered. The basics are what everybody falls back to. Stay curious.
Let's get one thing straight. You're not going to wait. You are not going to give up. You're not going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to give up on the person that you want to become, all because you don't see how you're going to become that person. You're not going to give up on the quality life that you dream of, all because you don't see the connection between that quality life and the life that you are living now. You're not going to do that. And this is what I mean when I say that you're not going to wait. And I'm not talking about that negative, destructive, aggressive impatience. I'm talking about the not waiting, where you are putting in action to become the person you want to become. Let's say you want to go to law school and the funds are not there. What you're going to do, you're going to become a law school student brick by brick, day by day, molecule by molecule, atom by atom, intention by intention. You are going to ask all the questions that must be asked for you to become a law school student. You're going to go to the law school institutions and ask questions pertaining to your situation. You're going to talk to people that are in law school and ask them questions pertaining to how do you get into law school even though you don't have money. Let me tell you something about the power of asking. If you ask specific questions, you are going to get specific answers. And I know it seems crazy. I go on the internet and ask something like how to become a millionaire when you don't have a million. Trust me, the answer is there. Because when you hold the intention, you then are able to go at it brick by brick, day by day, second by second, month by month, week by week, atom by atom. Say you want to become that girl that's always looking prim and proper, nice hair, great perfume, all because you know that makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you vibrate higher. And when you vibrate higher, good things come to you. But you also know you don't have the budget for 800 Rand nails or for 450 Rand nails. However, you know that you do have an extra 50 Rands. You take that 50 Rands, you go buy nail polish. Nail polish that 50 Rand can get you, and you paint your nails. You paint your nails with the intention of being that girl that you see in your mind. And you find that because you've got the intention and you're holding the intention day by day, second by second, brick by brick, atom by atom, in 6 months' time or in a year's time, you literally can afford gelish. You literally can afford to get the designer nails that you desire, if there is such a thing as designer nails. You're not going to wait. As I said, I'm not talking about the ungodly impatience here, where you now want to conjure up things, you now want to do spells because you can't wait. No, you are not going to wait to start the process of creation, creating who, the person you want to become. You start today, brick by brick, cent by cent, thought by thought. You desire a quality life where every single Sunday you and your family have breakfast at the table and it's beautiful. Do it with porridge. You're not going to wait for bacon and eggs and ponies and flowers and bubbly and champagne and Dom Perignon or I don't know, whatever. You're going to start with the porridge and the oros, the intention. Life does not care about the object. It doesn't care whether you're having a mimosa with Dom Perignon or JC Leroux. It cares about the intention. You're going to start today, right now, becoming the person that you see yourself as.
Here's the cycle of success for growing a company, for growing yourself. This is the way it works. Test. Fail. Learn. Improve. Re-enter.
Success comes in stages. Success comes in stages. You got to understand that. And 4 reasons why you need to go through stages. First reason, you need to learn important lessons. There are lessons that only Jerusalem can teach you, that Judea, Samaria cannot teach you, and that the ends of the earth cannot teach you. You've got to learn some lessons in stage 1. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Number 2, you've got to learn through failures, because you're going to fail. Touch somebody beside you and say, you're going to fail. And that's okay. In fact, you should fail. But listen to me, fail in Jerusalem, not in Judea and Samaria, because the failures in Jerusalem are tinier than the failures in... Am I speaking to somebody in the house? Number 3, you've got to learn to love the process. You've got to learn to love the process and not just the destination. Ask me why. Because 99% of the time, you will be in the process. And you've got to love the process. We want to have 100,000 feasts in the world. Guess what? I'm in no hurry because I love the process. I love building this one feast for the prisoners there in Laguna, and I want to build that other feast for domestic helpers in Hong Kong, and I want to build that other feast for other domestic helpers in Singapore, and one feast after. I love the process. You need to learn to love the process. Ask me why again. Because the process is the destination, and when you get that, then you love life. It's almost like, the destination for me is like the ubi ice cream in the halo-halo. It's extra. But the process of going to the destination is the halo-halo itself. Here's reason number 4. You need to learn to give as much hope as possible. That's why you have to go through stages. You see, a vision will give hope. But if you break down the vision into stages, you give more hope.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. because the 1001st was the light bulb.